Well, I think it's important that people know that there are ways to validate whether mediumship is real. For the client who is sitting and getting a reading, you look for the evidence, those things that no one could possibly know, the things that the loved one in spirit has just told them, I saw you recently do. But for some of us, we've had an opportunity to work with scientists who are studying mediumship. And there are a group of us that have worked with Dr. Gary Schwartz at the University of Arizona in double-blind, triple-blind studies to assist with validating that consciousness never dies. Only the body ever dies. But as they say, the proof is in the tasting of the pudding. And when you have contact with the medium, even though there are things that, sure, okay, I could look up these couple of things because everybody has something. Everybody has something out there on the internet. But the mediums with integrity are not looking you up, even if they may mention things that are out there. They're also going to give you those little snippets of information that there's no way anybody could know. So on the one hand, it's nice to know that science and mediumship comes together, that there are people out there like the Windbridge Institute who are working with select mediums to study how the information comes in. But you know, in your heart, when you're getting a message, you can feel the vibe from it, and that is what makes it real. I could have just stayed in my corporate life and done really well and had lots of material things. But I like to say what John Lennon said, that life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. And maybe you've had a wake-up call as well. In 2007, I was having allergy testing at the doctor's office because I'd had a lot of sinus infections and a lot of problems. I was living in Florida at the time. We did not know that I had a very severe allergy to mold. And so you think there's mold in Florida. And so when they started putting those little bits of the allergens in my arm to see how the skin reacts, I went into full-blown anaphylaxis. I mean, my throat closed up, my breathing, I was honking like a goose. And the next thing I knew, I stepped out of my body. I could see what was going on in the room. There were two technicians, one on either side of me, holding me up by my arms and shoulders, and two physicians had come in. And one physician was calling 911, I would find out later, and the other was opening a cabinet and getting some kind of injection prepared. They were all moving in slow motion, and they did not look real to me anymore. Where I was going was real. They looked flat and kind of shiny, like cardboard cutouts. It just felt not real. And as I stepped back out of my body, I was looking down in the back of my head, and I even remember thinking, oh, I've got to fix that spot in my hair on the back of my head where it's like, it needs to be fluffed up a little. And then I remember thinking how bizarre that thought was. And then the next thing I became aware of was music. Heavenly music that just kept coming in waves, crescendos. Talk about high vibration. I wanted to go where that music was. I felt the arms of my grandfather on the other side surround me. But eventually that injection went into my physical body, and I got vacuum sucked back into my body. I was loaded into an ambulance and went to the hospital, and I was just fine. But after that, I was reconnected to all the things that I knew growing up, that it's all about love, that we're here to create as much compassion as possible. I felt like I couldn't turn off seeing the spirit world and the living people's auras. And I did not fit into that corporate life anymore. I was a harsh person, I would say. I don't think I was that nice of a person, quite frankly. I had lost sight of what's important in life. And I wanted to get out of the corporate life, and I wanted to see where all of this this connection would take me. And so, yeah, we sold a lot of stuff. We sold a business, we sold a huge house, a boat, jet skis, cars, and downsized our lives. And I found that I'm happier with less. That doesn't mean you can't manifest abundance. And the corporate life is great for some people. At university administration I worked in was wonderful. I was just reminded of why I specifically was here. I do feel, though, that wherever you are, that the source, the spirit world, will use you right in place where you are to bring a little bit of heaven to earth, to identify your gifts and to help others. This was my path, and the universe needed to give me a wake-up call to get me to do this. A lot of people tell me I get these flashes of insight, or I feel like my loved one in spirit is around me and they're giving me a sign, but I don't know if it's real, or I'm just imagining it, or I don't know if it's real, or I'm just seeing signs where signs really aren't. And my response to that is, knock it off. You don't need anybody else to validate that something is real for you. We're a spiritual being in a body right now. They're just spiritual beings that are not now in bodies. And the more that you allow for the unfoldment of your own direct contact, recognizing your signs, the more you'll get. And the more grateful you are and saying, thanks, I know that was you. Can you do it again soon? The more that you do that, that gratitude begets more signs and more visits. One of the first things that you can try is when you wake up in the morning, before you even get out of bed, say, thank you, I'm happy that I have another day. What do I need to know today? And then maybe a flash, an image, a picture will pop into your head, sometimes a word, and try to set an intention for that day. I was recently talking to John Holland, and he was saying the exact same thing. And I said, so there's all these mediums waking up first thing in the morning saying, I'm happy for another day. And I'm setting an intention for the day. Why can't we all do that? And I have to tell you, the intuitive abilities that we have, the ability to make our own direct connection and receive signs and dream visits, it's right there inside of you. All you have to do is allow it to unfold. Don't pressure yourself. Don't try to rush things, but do keep a notebook or a journal of your signs, symbols, synchronicities, those crazy coincidences that seem to happen. And you can look back over time and you can see how your direct connection and your abilities are unfolding for you. I'm really looking forward to presenting with my good friend, Elizabeth Boisson, one of the co-founders and the president of Helping Parents Heal. We've known each other since before the organization was founded, and it was actually her son, Morgan, who is in spirit, who arranged for us to meet. And Elizabeth is going to be sharing about how parents on this side of the veil, on the physical earth, who have children on the other side of the veil, how the children arrange for their parents and families here to meet and become friends, so that together they can share the joys of their ongoing relationships that we have across the veil. And it's not limited to children on the other side. The relationships that we have with our beloved people and pets need never end. It changes. So you have to allow yourself to have a new type of relationship. And then, of course, I'm going to be demonstrating mediumship by tuning in and giving messages to whoever the spirit world wants to give messages to in the audience that day. And this particular session also comes with lunch. So it'll be really fun for people to sit together and talk about their experiences at the table and share, because a lot of what's wonderful about going to these events is being around the like-minded people and sitting in that energy. And guys, that energy, it builds, and you can't help but feel it. It's almost like this high vibe feeling absorbs into your body. And I tell people, when you leave an event like this, remember that feeling. that you had while you were there. I know it fades a little bit, but you can always tap back into it. Remember it in the body, how good you felt talking to all these people with similar experiences and new things that they shared with you. And when you ever feel down, just pull that memory out and place it to your heart and just feel it. And it can last you for a long, long time, maybe a lifetime. There's one remarkable benefit to coming to an event in person, and that is your soul has the opportunity to feel the connection that you already have, that connection that we have to each other, the oneness. I know sometimes it's hard to feel by watching things on the internet. And I also feel like if we're doing something and we're watching a video on the internet, that we can get distracted by other things that are going on and pulled away, or we might click over to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or something like that, and we start seeing all these other things that, you know, maybe bring us down. When you get really focused in a physical sacred space with like-minded folks, your spirit soars and things can come up that you need to heal, and you will receive some healing. You may have a conversation with someone that you never expected to have over a cup of coffee that stays in your mind for the rest of your life. You just don't know what to expect, except that it is high vibrational. If I had to choose only one tip for raising your vibration, it would be this. Love yourself. Release the need to judge yourself. Let go of Monday morning quarterbacking your decisions or something that you said. Focus in the now. And the best way I know how to do that is through the breath. If you will just, if you feel like I'm just going off kilter, or wow, my thoughts feel very low vibe right now, instead of saying, oh, you know, bad person for having low vibe thoughts, recognize the thought at that instant, sit back, take 3 big deep breaths, and breathe out longer than you breathe in. It's the breathing out that will bring you back to center. And find something that you really appreciate about you in that moment, because high vibrational isn't about fixing other people. It's about recognizing who you are. And that is a beautiful soul. That's who you really are. Recognize it, love yourself,